All right, so you're a high ticket coach looking to scale past 500K per month. And the thing about it is you're at a point where you're probably at like 50, 100, maybe 150K, but you are hitting a ton of bottlenecks in your business getting it. I've been there. But in the past 30 days, I've been able to scale my business to about $806,000, still a few days. You know what, I'm gonna refresh this so we could get on the same page, right? We know that 800K not going anywhere. We got it, okay, cool. So you know it's real. But we're gonna go over every single thing I would have did if I could go back in time and rescale this business to $1 million a month and what you can do to get to 500 plus K per month. The first thing you have to do is understand that we have to do the freaking math. Math is what allows you to build into a system. If you're just throwing shit at the wall, you might never get to this goal. So we have to start with understanding how many units do I need to sell to even get to this freaking goal. Let's say you have a 10K price point, right? Well, you're gonna be booking calls, right? Whatever funnel you're using, Instagram DM funnels, and we'll go more to funnels later. Low to high ticket, webinar, whatever. You're gonna be booking calls at that price point. Nobody's just gonna send you the money. I don't think so, unless you're really famous and they really know you. Okay, so let's just say let's build it around 100 calls. So let's just say you got 100 calls for the month. Okay, out of there, let's say you have about 60% show rate. Okay, pretty good show rate, right? Now, let's say you have about a 30% close rate, or 33, 1/3. So you have 20 closes. You're telling 20 users a month, and you have a 10K price point, and let's say they're all paying in full. So you are currently at a space where you are doing 200K per month. Okay, so here's the simplest part about it. You know that as long as you're profitable, you can just scale the amount of calls and build into the system. Or you can double your close rate or increase your show rate. But by building out a simple ass model like this is what allows you to know what lever to pull. Now, one of the best things I learned over this is that through the funnel, there are so many stats, right? You have your cost per book call, you have the amount of calls, you have your show rate, close rate, average order value. It is always the easiest way, just like double a business. Pick which of those metrics can be doubled, right? It's as simple as that. If your click-through rate on an ad is low, easiest thing to do is put new ads in there. If your show rate is like 30 or 40%, find out how to get it to 50 to 60%, right? If your close rate is in the fucking gutter at 12, 15%, find out how to get to 30%. Do you need new closes in there? But you have to do the math. The numbers speak volumes. We are not guessing in here. We have to sit down and drill down on the math. Most of my time is in a spreadsheet. I'm seeing exactly what level we need to pull, exactly what each rep needs to work on, and it gives me a whole freaking story of what I need to do in the business to grow it. So sit down, like high school, do the fucking math. Do the math, do the math, do the math like it's the SATs, okay? Now, once you do the math, here's where I see a lot of people screw this up, is they don't price to win. Now, price is so important, right? There's a quote, "There's no strategic advantage being the second most expensive in the marketplace." What does that mean? There are only two ways to price an offer. You either got to be gunning for that top spot, I'm going to be the most expensive in the marketplace, or you're going to strategically build your offer to be the cheapest. And you have to pick, right? But there's no one in the middle. Don't play in the middle, okay? So you're either going to price on price, you're going to either build your offer on price or value. See me? I'm a strong advocate for value. I'm always trying to be the most expensive in the space. Now, it's not because I'm out here just trying to I'm going to charge and charge and charge. It's because the more value you give people, the higher you price, the better clientele you get in, right? I'm trying to sell to people with money, right? I'm not trying to sell to people that are on their last leg. That's not kind of how I want to run my business because let's be real here, right? When you sell to people that are on their last leg, they're trying to scramble, they're very frustrated, they probably don't have a lot of experience or something, and they end up just being a really bad clientele. Now, you can go that way, but for me, I want to sell less units at a higher price because now I can deliver higher value because A, I have less people to deal with, B, they already have some money so they're not as pressed to actually make it work as early. They're actually going to learn the material, build a business the right way, and then C, I have more margin, right? I have more profit coming into my business so that I can do something we'll talk about later, which is hire the right people. This is what the size, the success of your freaking business, okay? So always try to price, in my opinion, for value, but you can take the route of being the cheapest in the market. If I go back in time, I would definitely price higher. When I first came in, I priced our offer at on $3,500. I was getting $3,500 problems. When I started pricing our offer at 10, 15K, I was getting a lot of different problems. And I didn't have to close as many deals for the month. So always try to price for value, in my opinion. The next thing I see a lot of people screw this up on is they are focused on ROAS, the return on ad spend, okay? Now, does this matter? Yeah, no shit, right? If I'm putting $1 in and I'm only getting $1.50 out, sometimes I'm not making enough money, right? But if I'm putting $1 in, I'm getting 10 out, that sounds good. $1, I'm getting 5 out, sounds good. But when you have successful, profitable ROAS, scale that bad boy. Don't try to get, I heard this guy talking, and he was like, dude, I have like a 9x ROAS. I'm like, why are you not pushing the gas? I would be reinvesting all of that profit into scalability, right? At the end of the day, I will take a smaller percentage of a much bigger pie rather than a big percentage of a minuscule, tiny pie. It's exactly what I did when I first got started, and big ass mistake. What I was doing is we were spending about maybe 15K a month on ads. I was making about 55 to 60K. And I was like, oh, I can't scale. It's not as profitable, la 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 la. And I'm like, I have a 4x ROAS. If I can reinvest some of that profit into that, I'm gonna end up having more money in my pocket at the end of the month. You need to scale when profitable and fix things as they go. Never try to turn down your back unless you absolutely have to, like shit is completely, never try to turn down your front end unless you actually have to, if you can fix stuff on the back end. Always look to scale and fix as you grow. Like last month, we did 400, and I'll make another video about this after, but we did a 448K. This month, we're doing over 800. I think by the end of the month, it'll probably be close to 850. That is massive growth, not even normal growth. But why is that possible, right? Because I wasn't just focused on ROAS, which it did hold, but I was focused on scaling as quick as possible. I'm scaling when I'm profitable, right? If things start to drop, I'm troubleshooting them live. I'm always in an aggressive mode of building a business, right? As you build your high ticket offer, unless you're running an offer where you're by yourself, you have teams, you have sales teams, you have fulfillment teams. Everyone wants to grow. A business is always growing or dying. And if you're gonna be in growth mode, act like it. When you're profitable, hit that fucking gas. Next thing you gotta do is you have to figure out what funnel you're gonna be running. Now, I have a strong preference for webinar funnels. Why? It's because at least I'm in a B2C space. And in the B2C space, the thing you have to know is that most people they don't trust you. Right? Especially if you're in an offer that's been around for a while. Like if you're doing dropshipping, if you're doing Amazon, if you're doing wholesale real estate, right? People don't trust you, right? There's so many bullshit out there, especially in my space. There was like Amazon automation scams, all this shit, right? So I need to build a shit ton of trust. That happens on webinars, right? I'm a coach. I get to coach on that. I get to show expertise. I get to answer questions live. I get to handle objections. I get to do all of that shit live. So what happens? People begin to trust, they begin to understand that I'm not some random dude. I've been in this space for a long time, and that's what pushes them over the corner rather than going for someone else's offer. Now, do you need to do webinar funnels? No. And honestly, I'm gonna speak a little bit about what I would do differently with webinars, because right now, I run 2 webinars a week. Now, it works, but here's the problem. If I ever get sick, have to go on vacation, anything like that, I'm literally cutting into the revenue of the business. So I have a issue because I'm a huge cog in the wheel. Business does not run without me. So while I love webinars, I think that you should be layering in other funnels. Now, the caveat here, if you have a very new and sexy offer, like let's say you have an offer that is built around AI, because AI is booming right now, or you have an offer built around like TikTok affiliate marketing or content creation, those are really hot offers right now, right? Because that is where the market is trending. So if you're doing any of that stuff, you don't even have to run a webinar funnel because people are actively looking for that, and it's not a space where there's that many offers. You can run something more traditional, even though this isn't my favorite funnel, like a VSL funnel. But I will say this, at least in my experience in the coaching space, VSL funnels, they work. They can work really well if your offer is super just like out there, like nobody else is doing it or very few people. But in general, what I like to do is I like to layer in a VSL funnel on the back end. Meaning, and this is something I'm working on right now, meaning you run the webinar as the main funnel, and then you have a retargeting campaign that is for your VSL funnel for people that missed the webinar or they weren't ready to buy after the webinar. You're retargeting them and pulling them through a funnel because you already built the trust on the webinar, right? The only other funnel I really see being able to hit scale like this, and it's something that I'm building out right now, is a low ticket to high ticket ascension funnel, right? Because everything that's happened in the coaching space over the years, there is a lot of low trust. But it's very easy for someone to be able to take like a $27, $49 kind of course that fixes something, and then you can build that trust with them, deliver a quick result, and then upsell them to a high ticket funnel. Now, this is a funnel which I actually like a little more than the VSL funnel, because here's the thing with webinar and VSL funnels. we have a long sales cycle sometimes. Like I know for us, our sales cycles can go over 10 days. So I'm shelling out cash, right? Let's just say it's a Monday, a Sunday, right? I'm shelling out cash all the way into the webinar Wednesday. And whatever leads we have are going to book calls anywhere from like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm not going to cash collect anything for another 10 days. So I'm not seeing my money for sometimes 21 days, right? Obviously, using a credit card helps and all these things if you're running, when you're running your ads on a credit card on Meta. But low to high ticket ascension funnels, I really, really like and we're building out because here's the thing, right? If I can be profitable on the front end, where I can spend money on the ad and get that money back in my bank account, like pretty much immediately, now I'm pretty much getting free leads for the ascension. So I'm saving a shit ton on ad costs. This is probably arguably one of my favorite funnels to jump into right now. But I will say, via selling webinar funnels, those are always going to be the main funnel for me. I can't really see myself converting all the way from low to high ticket. And it really is because I'm not a huge fan of having a ton of people in the pipeline, right? Because now you need more sales reps, you need more setters in there, you need all these things. So I like it as a backup, consistent flow funnel, but I really, really love webinars right now with what's going on in the marketplace for really building that trust and ascending. When we were doing just straight VSL funnels, I could not break past 120K a month, and I was losing and slipping in profitability day after day, month after month. And it's because, think about it. If you're trying to sell somebody, let's say a 10K thing, they're seeing an ad of you, they're watching a VSL, right? They're watching a VSL, 8-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute, even an hour-long video, right? And they're booking a call, and now you have to close them. They haven't built a lot of trust with them if they haven't seen you before, unless you have a great organic presence. So you have to do a lot of that nurturing with retargeting content, content-based ad strategies, all of this stuff to trying to push them through the funnel. But on a webinar funnel, they're spending 2 hours with you, 3 hours with you. Sometimes people go to 2-3 webinars before deciding, right? But they spend a lot of time with you. If I had to pick my favorite funnels right now, it would be webinar and low to high ticket. As an honorable mention, I'm only saying this because it's okay. It can tag on a few, maybe 100 to 200K onto this, is going to be the IGDM funnel, right? Driving people through your Instagram, driving people to see your content, and then DMing them, having them DM keywords to show interest. Only thing I would say about this funnel is it can get very noisy in there. You can have a lot of setters. It's way harder to track data when you're doing this. It's way harder to feed things back to the Facebook pixel when you're doing this. So I think it's kind of a noisier funnel. The other thing is you want to kind of consistently have content coming out to do this funnel. Versus on a webinar, I might not post for like 2-3 weeks. I'm still good, right? But IGDM, I have to consistently post, have people see me, remember, top of mind, really build that trust with them. But all 4 of these funnels, I think, work very well in 2025, going into 2026. But I know as we scale to $1 million a month in the next 1 to 2 months, it's going to be a webinar and maybe injecting a small low ticket funnel to cash collect another 100K or so. Now, here's one thing that we haven't done, and it was a huge mistake, but you should do as you scale, is you want to add in MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or ARR, annual recurring revenue. A mistake I made, I'll tell you, I'm a rookie no matter what, right, is I was given lifetime access. So my lifetime value for a customer was literally right there in that first transaction, unless there was split pays or some shit like that, right? Right there in that first transaction. So what happens? I can't make any money unless I upsell them to a bigger package later. But when you have monthly recurring revenue, right, where you might give them access for 3 to 6 months, and if they want to stay in after that, there's a small amount, or annual where you give them access for a year. At the end of the year, they have to pay a smaller amount. That's just free cash flow. What that does is allow you to cup up a lot of the ad spend. So you don't just have this transactional thing going on, right? This is something I didn't build in, but this is something that as you build your offers, always think, how do I add MRR and or ARR into the offer? Because that's just free cash flow coming in. Now, is everyone going to fall into that? Some people might cancel. You might have a churn rate where people don't actually pay the subscription. But what it does is it builds a lot of urgency into your offer where people are going to rush to get a result, which is going to boost your testimonials through the results because they know they don't have access for life. Like if I buy something and I know I have to get a result in 6 months, I'm hitting the gas, right? Because I'm not trying to pay after that, right? Same thing annual, right? If I know I have a year to get this result, yeah, I don't have the same urgency as 6 months, but I still have urgency to get it because I'm not trying to get back into paying a cycle. But if I do have to pay it, guess what happens? The business is making money, free and clear, no ad spend there. So building MRR or ARR into your offer is big time. Now, it's going to be my final point, probably the biggest change I've made in the business. My old business that I ran to 1.2 million a month was Amazon wholesale, right? And it was a lot easier than this. I'll tell you that, a lot more, less moving pieces. But how I used to run that business, stupidly, was I would hire based on price. I was always looking for a deal. Like, it was crazy, right? Oh, someone's only, like a VA is only $2, $3, $4 an hour, right? And it worked for us because the system was so simple. But when I tried to replicate that in this business, what I realized was like, the cheaper someone costs to hire, the worse they are. So this kind of goes back to point number, what was that? Number 2. I price based on value. I'm trying to increase my margins on my business all the time so I can hire better people, right? Like in the past month, I've hired somebody to build an AI bot, right? That was 5 figures in investment. I've hired new coaches, right? Another 5 figure investment actually, right? 5-figure investment. I also hired someone to help me on YouTube, Instagram, all of these things, right? Heavy on investing and reinvesting his capital, because at the end of the day, here's where I see a lot of people screw this up in the coaching space. They have their hands in too many pots. I was just talking to somebody. I'm like, what do you do for the business, right? They're doing the coaching, the fulfillment, the marketing, the organic content, the ads, the sales calls. I'm like, so you are wearing currently 6 different hats in the business and you want to be able to scale? Like, yeah. I'm like, do you think that is normal? Have you gone to any business in the world and someone's in charge of 6 different things and they expect to perform them all at a high level? It does not work. And I'm telling you from experience, right? You want to outsource the things that is not your zone of genius. Like me, I think I know the Amazon space better than most people, right? I think I know a lot of the stuff in terms of the actual back end better than most people, right? So what am I pretty good at? I think I'm okay at the marketing side, still have help on that side. I'm not that good on sales call, outsource that. At organic, so I'm outsourcing my YouTube, I'm outsourcing Instagram for help on that, right? And I'm always looking to get better people on my team because it makes my life and job simpler. Like literally, I'm trying to build a team that, if minus the fact I need to run webinars, I can literally go away for majority of the week and things still churn, things still run. And when you get those A players in there, you got to have enough money coming in so that you can compensate them and incentivize them to stay with you, right? So always try to price high, always try to increase your margin, always try to hire the best people in the game. This has been the biggest game changer. How we were able to do it from 448 to 806, and I'm pretty sure next month we're going to hit $1 million and we're looking to scale from there, is because I'm just reinvesting profits into better and better people, right? Don't get greedy. Don't be one of those people that you hit your first 50, 100K a month and you go get your lease G-Wagon or some shit like that, right? Calm your ass down. Go invest in the right people so you can grow the actual business, right? As the business owner, your job, sometimes you get paid less. Yeah, you shouldn't if you structure it right, but sometimes I'm in a place where some of the staff is gonna make more than me for the month. But I'm always thinking about, hey, when I get to this mill, when I get to this 2 mil, that's when I start really taking out the money I want, right? So I'm hiring based on skill and value, right? I'm always all about A players on the team. And when you do this, hitting this goal is a lot easier. You got these 6 things. If you're stuck in that 50 to 100K a month, I feel for you. I've been there, right? But start working on some of these things. And if you're one of those people that really are looking for help scaling to the next level, I'm gonna leave a link below. Hit it, book a call. I'll walk you through exactly what we did to scale here and see if you're a good fit to work with you and help scale your business. But either way, subscribe to the channel. I hope this helped and keep watching. I'm gonna give some updates on the next video about how we're scaling and everything we did to actually almost double the business in just 1 month. So I'll see you then.